Hi, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches. Coming back for video number 21, 22, something like that. I just want to make a real quick video before I start the day here. It is about 9:30 or so in the morning. But I wanted to make a quick video to talk about my progress so far and show a few things that I bought just recently. I made the mistake of going to Hobby Lobby like some people, they tell you not to go grocery shopping on an empty stomach. It was kind of that thing. When you go into Hobby Lobby without a specific agenda, you come out with stuff you don't necessarily need, but whatever. So there's the I do now try to go to. Let me turn on this other light. Helps a little bit maybe. Once upon a time, the only place I ever went was Hobby Lobby or Michael's, because it never even occurred to me to look for an LNS, or anything. And, back in the day, in the early 90s, when I started stitching in 88 or so, back then, Hobby Lobby and Michael's carried a lot of stuff, for cross stitching, and I had never heard of over dyeing. I don't know if people were doing it back then. I think the stitching community was doing things like coffee dyeing, which I had heard of. I think I read about it in the back of a leaflet or in a magazine or something. But I had, I had never gone to an LNS and had never heard of it. Excuse me just a second. But anyway, so, I had only ever gone to Hobby Lobby or Michael's for cross-stitch stuff. And they used to carry, more back in the day. But anyway, so, but I always go to Hobby Lobby for stuff like, just for DMC, which is what I went to the store for. But there's a Hobby Lobby, a few months ago I mentioned that my sister and I had moved from the house we used to live in to this house now in east in the eastern Phoenix area of Awachuki. Anyway, there's a Hobby Lobby near where we live now that I don't think I had been in before. But they have a pretty decent cross-stitch aisle. I think they only have really the one aisle for supplies and a few booklets and stuff for cross-stitching. But anyway, but they do have a surprising amount of, they have the first however many colors of DMC, starting with number 1 and the new DMC colors. They have them there, and and they have a really good selection of DMC floss. I don't think they have, and they have the Artiste brand that I guess it's a Hobby Lobby brand anyway. But so I went there for floss, and I went because I like, as I mentioned, I live in this new house. I'm trying to reorganize a little bit, and I had thought about looking at the furniture there just to see if they had anything that I wanted. But anyway, so I did get the DMC floss that I went for. But I also bought, sorry about the noise, there's a cat messing around. I bought some other stuff that I didn't really need. like I said, it's a little bit like going to the grocery store on an empty stomach. You're not supposed to do that. But anyway, I bought a few things. I'll get to that in a second. What I want to start with was the progress I've made on my design. I started on the first verse up here. I did stitch, if you can see, I did the border on both sides of the water to connect to the first side and the first verse, and I started up the side a little bit on this side here so that I could start the words and place them properly, because this was really all I had. When I started working on my needle minder are stuck together. When I first started working on my design, I forgot to account for this little part of the border. I hadn't really thought through what I was going to do, and so I didn't actually chart this. Excuse my cat Puck is bugging. But anyway, so on a separate piece of paper, I figured out this thing for the water and charted it, but I had figured out where it would go in relation to these words, but I had not, it wasn't on paper on the same piece of paper as these words were. So it took a little bit of back and forth between the pages to figure out where this was to go. And right here, I haven't finished the word love. It looks very close together, all this right here, but anyway, this says Mount of Thy Redeeming Love. The V and the E are not on here. I ran out of thread on this line, and I didn't want to start a new skein yet, so right now I'm working on this. Praise the Mount I'm fixed, it's supposed to say fixed upon it. And when I get to the end of this line, I'll have a couple of smaller pieces, and I can finish this. I have not posted on Instagram yesterday. I don't think this progress, but I did post on Instagram on Friday Off the Grid. This M down here I did with a scrap of I had a couple of smaller pieces of thread from doing these letters, and I had one that I thought, well, I can probably do the M out of this one piece, and I barely had enough to finish, and I had a little piece of thread left, like maybe half an inch, after I thought I was gonna run out and not have room to tuck in the thread in the back of this letter, but I just had enough, and had a little tiny piece to snip off. And I think I used another small piece just on the word of. It's not connected. I don't have a problem carrying threads short distances between letters, like in here, even though it's a little on the dark side. I don't think it shows up very badly. It shows up through the fabric. But anyway, this is what I'm working on right now. And it's coming along pretty nicely, My older sister is making a dress, sewing a dress, and we're going over in a little while to my younger sister's house because she has a little bit more room and a newer sewing machine, and anyway, my sister is going to work on the dress over there, so I'm going over there and stitching while she's working on the dress. Anyway, so that's the progress on my design, and that's pretty much all I'm working on right now. But like I said before, I went to Hobby Lobby on an empty stomach, if you will, and bought a few things. One of the things I've been trying to do lately is organize all my stuff. So I have a little a notebook where I was writing down, all my kits and on charts and other things that I have. Uh, um, and So I thought I would go through my fabric as well, and I went through it some time ago, and I made these little pieces of paper, little slip of little card pieces of cardstock, excuse me, to that indicated, like what the count was and what the size was and everything. But they were just little pieces. I don't know why I did it on little pieces of paper that I just tucked in the folds of the fabric, and so they had the tendency to fall out, So I went through and I had some sort of neon colored index cards, and so I chose a one color, and I went through and cut them in half, so they were about this. I don't have any handy next to me, but they're about this big, about maybe 2 by 3 or something like that. But I was looking for a hole punch, and I was sure I had one, but I think I did not. I think I've used them at work back in when I used to work. I Both of the jobs that I've had, I've only had two for the last several years, since '96. From '96 to 2009, I worked for Family Life, and from 2009 till I moved out here in 2015, I worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield. But in both jobs, I worked as a sort of what do you call it, administrative assistant, clerical kind of position. And one of the things I did was I bought office supplies in both jobs. And so I dealt with a lot of, I had pens and paper and pens and pencils and what do you call it, paper clips and all kinds of junk, that I could use myself at my desk, that I got in the habit of buying for myself, for my home, for my desk at home and stuff. Yeah, I knew about a lot of things, and I thought for sure I had a hole punch, and maybe I have one somewhere. I don't know, but I didn't. I looked and didn't come up. Didn't have one. One thing I did have is some time ago I bought for home a plastic, what do you call it, 3-hole punch that has a very small capacity, and it's just handheld, and and you just stick your papers in there and do it. So I use that, one of the holes in the 3-hole punch, to make holes in the 3x5, the index cards I have, the 3x5 cards. Excuse me. So I could write on them, the count, 14 count Ada, the size and the color and all that. So I did that on Thursday. And anyway, so it was kind of tedious not having a hole punch. So one of the things I bought at Hobby Lobby was a hole punch. And then I bought some fabric, and I bought this 22 count Hardinger, MCG Textiles. I bought Hardinger, and I bought this package also by NCG Textiles, 28 count even weave. And I did recently. I did that little mouse design sweet marmalade on even weave, and I really liked it. I liked it a little better than this linen that I'm doing my design on. Excuse me, it's upside down. Because like all linen, all sort of natural linen, this has is kind of schlubby, has thin lines and thick lines. They had some other smaller counts of linen and even weave, and I think amongst my fabrics that I have. I have a couple of pieces of linen that is, small, but a little more even. But anyway, I really like the even weave fabrics, and so I thought I would buy a little bit more of those. And I had plenty of Aida, so I didn't really need any. They had lots of Aida cloth there, and I didn't buy them because I don't really need it. Anyway, while I was there, their kits. I thought I would look at their kits to see if they were anything interesting, and they had many. They had some kits, I should say, not a whole lot, and they didn't have anything that I really liked. But they did have these little artiste kits, and so I just bought some that were inexpensive and kind of cute. But this one is a little, excuse me, a little hummingbird bookmark. Let me get it. There's a little bit of glare there. But these are little hummingbirds. It just says hum, and line below it. But I thought they were kind of cute. And then, and it comes with, looks like even Monaco even weave, 28 count. And then flosses and the pattern. So, and then these two come with Aida cloth. Looks like white 14 count Aida fabric, but there's an elephant there. Everybody knows how much I like elephants. And then this, I think I've seen this. Somebody else has shown this pattern before. One cat leads to another. Yeah, by Ernest. The quote by Ernest Hemingway. But it has some cute kitties on it. Anyway, so that's my haul. And hopefully I'll do some significant work on my design today when I go visit, while I'm visiting my sister at her house. Anyway, so that's about it. We're getting ready to go over there now, shortly. And I think that's all I wanted to update you on. Yeah, it was just the progress I was making. And yesterday was international, I think, cross stitch day. So, it's nice that we have our own day to celebrate. And nice that it fell on Friday for Friday Off the Grid. So, we had even more reason to celebrate. There's a cat about to jump up here, and I don't want, jump up here. Since he's up here, I'll show him off. This Puck. Show him your pretty milk mustache. Your little powdered sugar mustache right here. This is Puck. He's very mad. That's Puck. Come here. Let me hold you. Let me hold this baby. Oh, goodness. There's my Puck. He's very sweet. Shall we sing for them? Shall I sing to you? Indulge me for a minute. Puckasy. Let's see. Sorry about that. Picky-ding. 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 That's a fast version of Puck's favorite song. The little tune that my grandfather used to sing, not with words, but that he used to sing that tune when I was little, when he would sort of, we would ride on his knee, he would do his knee up and down and sing, tick-a-dum, 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 dum. Anyway, so I've sung that to Puck since he was a kitten. And so that's Puck's song. Ordinarily, he doesn't let me hold him this much, but being nice today, sort of. So I'll let you go. So anyway, so thank you for my returning subscribers, and to any new viewers. Thanks. This is it's a treat to have you come and watch my videos. I'm gonna get rid of this kitty for a second so I can do a proper sign off. Anyway, so thanks for coming by. Thanks to all my viewers, new and old, new and returning, I should say, not old. Anyway, so I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.